Sports in the city. Sports in the city. We creeping it gritty with that sports in the city. Live from the arena. Welcome to Sports in the City. Live from the arena. From the east to the west coast. From the south to the north. There's a sports in the city wherever you are. Thanks for tuning in to Sports in the City TV. I'm your sports G. Reed Richards, along with my partner in crime, BK Ty. What's going on, G? Peace.
Peace, Reed. What's good with you, fam? How you feeling?
We're back in Sports in the City.
Absolutely.
You know the deal. Top Shelf Tuesday.
Yeah, man. I want to give a quick shout out to all the sports fans from coast to coast. Every arena, every court, every field, all hoods. 757 stand up. Salute the NYC. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Right. Hit up that chat. Get at us. Hit that like button. Share and subscribe on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Check in while we're live. Leave your comments. Let us know what sports topics you want to talk about. Want to sponsor the show? Let us know. So here we go. Let's get to it. This is going to be a classic. Yo, Ja Logic, man, this is going to be a monster, man.
It's going to be a monster, man. We gonna get that's going to be a monster.
Definitely is. Sports in the City via the Rant Network presents Top Shelf Tuesday, the Sports Equinox Part 2, Episode 8. In honor of the Sports Equinox, I would like to play one of the most iconic intros ever in sports. So iconic, man. Every Saturday I used to get up waiting to see this show, Wide World of Sports, which was the grandfather of ESPN and all of the ESPN affiliates that you see today, man.
Fact. Saturday is when we got it in. Sports, cartoons, whatever. But Wide World of Sports, man, that was definitely the intro to all type of sports news platforms, man.
Exactly. Let's
Everything
get it.
from basketball and boxing to bobsledding and ski jumping, man. They gave it all to you.
Ice skating, figure skating, speed skating. They had it all, man.
Absolutely.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
See your mans in them.
Oh, this is taking me back.
Of athletic competition.
Yep. Pele.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sports. Brought to you by Lincoln Mercury.
All right, that was the joint back in the days, man.
See them at the sign of the cat. By Goodyear, makers of the custom steel.
They used to play the alley fights.
And by State Farm Mutual. Almost anywhere you live, there's a State Farm agent nearby.
That was it, man.
Like a good
that was
State Farm.
That's where we got our sports from, the newspaper and ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Exactly. That was the grandfather of it all, man. Classic. So we're going to get right to it. Thanks for the dedication. Live from the Diamond, the Rangers wrap up the World Series and the offseason begins. Next in our helmet-to-helmet segment, we will high step through the league like Coach Prime. The boys fall to the Eagles. The Chiefs down the Phins. The Ravens maul the Seahawks. Reaching the summit, we will be backpedaling like Travis Hunter through the week slate of NCAA football games. The Michigan Wolverine drama continues. Also from ROUNDBALL around the world, we pick and roll through the NBA's rundown and the NBA for week 2. Reaching the summit part 2, NCAA basketball men and women's tip-off. This is the true Equinox. Some people tell me they're moving along. We got Guts and Ice, the NHL standings, and we can't forget our monsters of the week, including some usual suspects and some new additions. Lastly, rising to the occasion, like underdog with the upsets of the week. And then we got BK Ty's top 5 sports cities. So let's get
no
to
need
it.
to fear. Underdog is here.
Yeah, let's get to it. Strictly top shelf. Off the top of the pile. Live from the Dome in the World Series rundown. The Rangers snatched game 4, 11-7. In game 5-5-zip to seize the first championship in franchise history. First one for the Texas Rangers. First chip.
It's crazy, man. Congratulations, salute to the city of Texas, Anaheim, I think it is, right outside of Dallas, or part of Dallas, however it works, man. But
Yep.
they've been a good team. You know, they've sniffed it for years. They've been close for years, man. And you know, American League love. If the Yankees can't be there, you know, shouts out to the Angels for winning it. Shouts out to two-time MLB World Series MVP Corey Seager, who some might say broke it open for them in game 5. You know what I'm saying? One of 3 of the only multiple World Series MVPs in history. The other 2 being Sandy Koufax and Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. So that's some pretty elite company for Mr. Seager, for sure.
Can't forget Bob Gibson, who also did it more than once. And Reggie Jackson and Corey Seager, the only 2 to do it with 2 different teams.
2 different teams. There you
Definitely
go.
Shout out. Adonis Garcia looks like he was on his way to snatching up the MVP until he got hurt in game 3 and had to sit out games 4 and 5. But the Rangers kept it pushing, and they snatched the first one. Definitely got to give shout outs to Nathan Eovaldi, who went 5-0 in this playoffs for the Rangers. Definitely got to shout out the Rangers team itself for breaking the all-time record for road wins, consecutive road wins in the playoffs, which stands at 11 now. They broke the former record, which was 8. And got to give it up to Bruce Bochy for winning his fifth World Series. That man is a coaching genius.
Absolutely.
Man is a coaching genius. Definitely shout outs to the Rangers. Do you think they have a chance to repeat?
I think they have a good chance of repeating. I think I'm not sure how many of their core players, but I think the core is coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, for the most part, the core is coming back.
I mean,
they do stand a good chance to repeat, but you know, in the 100, yeah.
We see what happens to favorites in the MLB playoffs, man. But if they do, this will be the first team since what the Yankees
1978,
77,
like
78 2000
Yankees.
Wasn't it? Then they win it back to back.
Oh, like 2000,
99 and 2000 or something like that.
2000. 99 and 2000. That was the last repeat champs. That is
Absolutely
correct. All right, so definitely shout outs to the Rangers. We're moving along, NFL helmet to helmet. Let's get to high stepping through the league like Coach Prime. The boys fall to the Eagles. That was a game that was, you know, it meant a lot to me because I'm a long life Cowboys fan. What did you think of the game?
Snafus and little, I won't say little mental errors, man, but it's little things that cost you guys the game. I know there's no such thing as a moral victory, you know, but it's good to see how close you played, you know, what many people consider to be the best team in the league. It'll be interesting to see what happens towards the end of the season, if you guys will take anything away from this game and be able to apply it and come up with a better game plan, or at least better execution when you guys meet up towards the end of the year, you know?
Definitely on that note. Well, to the first half of the game, the Cowboys took the lead 17-14 going into the half. But the mistake they made was they didn't come back with the same intensity for the third quarter. And Jalen Hurts struck with a touchdown pass to Devontae Smith, which took the Eagles ahead in the game. And then after that, they did not relinquish the lead. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, they gave up 14 points in the second half to the Eagles, only scored 6. But in the fourth quarter, had 3 opportunities to take the ball into the end zone. The first time they went for it on 4th and goal, and they came up inches short. I would have taken the field goal on that and gotten the 3 points, because you would have needed a field goal and a touchdown to win anyway, or a field goal and a touchdown and an extra and go for the 2-point conversion. Then the next time down the field, they were in range to score. They scored, and then Dak Prescott missed the 2-point conversion and stepped out by an inch trying to dive into the end zone. I think Mike McCarthy's strategy, as far as his play calling and his time management, once again is in question. Every time it seems to get down to those critical moments in the game, Mike McCarthy seems to drop the ball, man.
Yeah, but it's all predicated on execution. You know, as in anything with sports, coach will either be a genius or what is he doing? You know, because if the plays worked, you got to give him credit. I think at the end of the day, it's all in execution, man. And if you got a team that you know should be capable of making those plays, man, you know,
down by 2 scores, you needed a field goal anyway. All right, so let's say this. They lost the game 23-28. Let's look at this. They missed that. They don't opt for the field goal, so that's 3 points right there. And then they missed the 2-point conversion. That's your 5 points right there. Even if they would have went for the field goal, right, they would have been down 2. And then on that last drive that they attempted, which I don't understand why they were throwing the ball short of the end zone with only 1 play left. You do not throw the ball short of the end zone. And then when you look at that play, CeeDee Lamb was like 3 yards short of the goal line. And when he was short by those 3 yards, it looked like he tried to do a hook and pass, but there was no one there to pass the ball to when he tried to hook. So that right there was poor execution. But like I said, the play calling left something to be desired of, because they came up 5 points short, and that was the 5 points right there. The 2 decisions, going for it on 4th down and not opting to kick the field goal, and then lastly trying to go for the 2-point conversion. And I don't know why Dak took such an angle. I mean, I know he was being pursued by the linebacker, but on that play, he had enough time to just cut straight up the field without trying to cut out of bounds. So I think the poor execution, there was some penalties late in the game on that last drive. Like, how can you get a delay a game? That's on the coaching.
Yeah.
The other one is the false start, and then they let Dak Prescott get sacked and take a big loss in that last drive. It was just terrible execution on that last drive, bad time management. Because the other thing with the play calling, instead of them coming up to the line, they had about 20 seconds left after the sack. They could have came up to the line, timed the ball out by spiking it, and they would have had the opportunity to run maybe 2-3 more plays instead of just that 1 play. And then once again, the Cowboys come up a couple inches short. But Dak Prescott played lights out, thrown for 3 touchdowns, about 370 yards, targeting CeeDee Lamb. But a question that I have to ask is, where's Brandon Cooks? Where is Brandon Cooks? Because they have not been utilizing Brandon Cooks. I understand you go into CeeDee Lamb, but when he gets double teamed, you have to have an alternative. And I'm not really too confident in Michael Gallup being the number 2 receiver. So I have to ask Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys, where is Brandon Cooks? Anybody know where Brandon Cooks?
Put out an APB?
Yeah, we putting out an APB on Brandon Cooks because he's supposed to be a stalwart, dual threat running back, and I haven't seen Brandon, I don't know, since like a couple of weeks ago now. I'm not sure about that. We're going to have to find out any sites on Brandon Cooks. One of the other elite games of the week was the Chiefs down in the Phins, 21-14, which I thought there was going to be more scoring in this game, but the Kansas City Chiefs defense showed up And the Miami Chiefs defense wasn't that bad either. There was, not that many points scored in this game. 35.
That Kansas City defense is underrated, man. I've been saying it for the longest. You're aware of their offense, and their offense hasn't even been monstrous as it normally is. I mean, Mahomes is still all world, but the rest of the team is definitely not up to his caliber of play.
Right.
But the defense has absolutely been helping getting them through this season. I mean, going through in the beginning of the season, there was no question on whether or not Kansas City was going to have an opportunity to repeat, or if they had a strong chance of, repeating. And now it's like, some question, are they even a top 5 team in the league? Well, I don't say top 5, but, you wonder, do you consider Kansas City a top 3 team anymore?
No, of course.
And everyone
Who's talking like that?
What's that?
Who's talking like that? Of course, they're still a top. What's their record? 7-2.
Is it 7-2 or?
Yeah. They're 7-2. How are they not a top 5 team any longer? I mean, they're not winning in the same fashion they were last year, but as we discussed, last season is last season. Everything is not going to be the same as they were last season. So I think as long as
often
they keep
teams
winning,
don't finish the way they start. So
yeah, but I mean, you don't have the same results every game. They're still winning. Their record's 7-2.
Yeah.
How many teams can we say that are convincingly better than the Chiefs? That you're going to put the house in the mortgage, you're going to mortgage the house and the kids on that team.
No, you're absolutely right. Kansas City is not a team that you can bet against at all. But there are other teams in the AFC that some would say are better, if not are playing better right now.
The only team that I could see that maybe is the Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, who are trending, on an upward path. But other than that, they just beat the Phins.
Bengals are trading trending in the right direction. But what about?
Ain't no buts, bro. They just won their 4th straight.
What about Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville has a bye week, but like I said, they have to beat the usual suspects who are normally contending, which in this case right now is the Chiefs, the Ravens, and I even have to see them beat the Bengals right now, because now that Joe Burrow is healthy, they're not an easy out by any stretch of the imagination. When he was hurt, yeah, they were taking L's, but now that Joe Burrow is back, he is playing at a ultra high level and is definitely carrying the Bengals to wins victory after victory. And they usually start late in the season, and they're coming on.
They already did play Kansas City tight, so that's something to be said. So I guess by virtue of them taking an L to Kansas City, you can't really put them over Kansas City. But
no, I'm talking about the Jaguars. I ain't talking about Kansas City.
That's what I'm talking about. They lost to Jackson. They lost to KC.
I thought you were talking about the Bengals.
No.
I would say,
Jacksonville.
Yeah. I still have to see Jacksonville show up, especially during later parts of the season where you're starting to get ready for the playoffs. And then health and injuries also has a big part to do with it as well.
All the time.
Yeah, but
I think Jacksonville doesn't get. I think a lot of people try to question like maybe the teams that they beat or their schedule or whatever, but there's some pretty legit teams on their resume so far this season. But to your point and what I said earlier, how you start sometimes isn't how you finish, especially when teams start to figure you out or your durability becomes an issue. Lots of factors, but what they're doing so far, has to be mentioned. Five straight so far for
the Ravens right now, they had a bye week. So going into this week, we're going to have to see what they come back to do this upcoming week. But the Ravens definitely handled the Seahawks 38-3, 38-6, some score like that, 37-3, excuse me. And Lamar Jackson is playing at an ultra high level. So right now I can't put the Jaguars ahead of them, especially with the Ravens defense playing at such a high level. They're playing number one defense in the NFL right now, giving up less than 15 points a game. So,
Mollywop.
Yeah, that was definitely a mollywhopping, 37-3 over the Seahawks, who came the yards. Tyreek Hill, he was definitely quiet over the weekend. No backflips, no touchdowns, no nothing, no taking picks. So that's definitely something that has to be watched when playoff time comes. Because when the playoffs come, you only have the best teams still in contention. There's a lot of bad teams in the NFL at this time also. So we definitely have to keep that into account. Right now, rounding out the rest of the games for the week in the NFL, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin again, he finds a way to keep the Steelers winning. They beat the Titans 20-16. And you have the Vikings taken over by Joshua Dobbs. He led them to a 31-28 comeback victory over the Atlanta Falcons, and he definitely was one of the beasts of the week. He was definitely a monster for them. Yep. And the Browns give the Arizona Cardinals the donut for the week, and they romped them 27-zip. The Packers beat the lowly Rams 20-3. With the absence of Matthew Stafford out on injury is definitely affecting the team. You got the Commies getting a rare victory. Shout out to Virginia Slim. And his Commies beat the Patriots 20-17. You have the Saints over the Bears 24-17. And you have the Texans and CJ Stroud, who balled out of his mind, tying one record and breaking another record. He broke the most yards in a single game passing with 470 and broke Andrew Luck's former record of 453. And then he also tied the most touchdowns in a game by a rookie with 5. He was definitely balling out of his mind, and he led the Texans over the Buccaneers in a Pippen 39-37, just barely winning. That was a good game. Baker Mayfield, he was balling too. So definitely shout outs to CJ Stroud and the Texans for that game. And your Panthers lost to the Colts 27-13. Jonathan Taylor, your Panthers.
My Panthers?
The 1-7 Panthers fall to the Colts 27-13. Then the Raiders, your Giants, definitely, I don't know,
there you
man.
Go. There you
30-6. Led by Antonio Pierce, former Giant defensive player, and he leads the Raiders, brought a new mindset, a new culture, and they take out the Giants 30.
I was glad for Pierce, man. I hope he gets that job, man. I hope they take that interim off, man. He deserves a shot. And then I hope they don't do the traditional black coach bullshit that they do, you know. Oh, he had a bad season. It's time to get rid of him and give some other coach that's not a black coach three losing seasons before we get rid of him. You know,
well,
give that man a chance.
He's taking over for Josh, right? He's taking over for Josh.
Yeah, and if I see Josh get another job, man, come on. that dude should never be anywhere outside of the OC booth.
Coordinator, right?
Outside the OC booth up in the stands, man. That's what he should be for the rest of his NFL life.
We were talking about the writing was on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Because Davante Adams was complaining and going to the press like every week he was complaining. And even up to last week, we mentioned that Davante Adams was complaining and whining and really bellyaching. So the ownership made their decision because you're going to either have to get rid of the coach or get rid of the player. So they made their decision by keeping.
I mean, he's understandably frustrated, but I think we'll see what happens, man. We'll see. Hopefully with Pierce, man, they do things a little different than I mean, they held on to him, so I don't know. I think that's the main reason why he was going to the press and campaigning the way he was the last few weeks. He was trying to pressure the Raiders to trade him before the deadline. Then once the deadline came and gone, you know, now
they said they weren't trading him.
They said that, but
the Raiders made it very clear that they were not trading him. So they got rid of Josh McDaniels, which to me, was the right call. Like, what has he ever done as a head coach? He needs to go back to Bill Belichick and fix the Patriots offense. That's what he needs to do. The Giants, now back to your Giants, man. Once again, they did not protect Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets tackled and sacked on the previous play, which it looked like he got hurt initially on that play. And then he comes back, plays the next down, and then he just goes down with no contact. And the report says that he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Are you not happy to see him injured, but are you happy to see him not playing?
Not at all.
No.
I mean, I guess only from the standpoint that now this forces Joe Shane to go and do what people were wondering if we were going to do. I remember I said that Daniel Jones in the second half of the season would be auditioning for his job. I think the cap hit will be too large for us to move away from him next year.
They have an option to do that next year.
They have an option, but the cap hit will be too much. So it'd be better to just keep him on the roster and, let there be a healthy competition. If he beats out somebody, he beats out somebody. But
they drafting a quarterback.
You have to at this point.
Okay.
You have to, especially if, right now,
I think forget the cap hit. The guy
right now,
man,
if I'm not mistaken,
he has no love. He's like, every time he's on the field, something is going wrong with the kid, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate.
In the Giant uniform.
And I think the biggest, the biggest disappointment is how we finished the season last year, and for him to come in and look like he regressed, that sucked. So right now, not knowing Caleb Williams, if he comes out and he's first, I don't think we have a shot to get him unless we do some trading up. As it stands right now, Arizona and Carolina are the worst two teams in the league. But I know that the Giants' plans are to sit tight and let it play out. Like I said, tanking doesn't happen on the field. It happens in the front office,
But the players have to go with that program too.
Well, I don't think so. I think if you just don't give them something,
the players tank.
No, but sometimes but listen, you don't have to make them tank. To the point that I made about Daniel Jones and Tyrod, how much better our offensive line looked, how much better the defense seemed to play.
They didn't look that much better.
How everything just seemed to click. The offense looked like.
That's a reach, bro. I know the
offense has some flow
wishfully
to it,
reaching.
All I'm saying is the offense had way more flow to it with Tyrod,
bro. Not really,
than
bro.
it did with Daniel
The
Jones.
Giants have the worst offense
on Daniel
in the
Jones.
NFL,
The big defense to Daniel Jones was he had a horrible.
The Giants have
he had a horrible offensive line.
Offense in the NFL.
Tyrod played behind the same offensive line and was able to escape and was able to make passes downfield.
What did he do though, bro? He threw a couple passes. How many victories did he get?
It's not about the victories. You missing the whole point. The whole point I'm saying, you're not. Can I finish then? Well, can I finish,
bro? Because you're trying to get moral victories out of the offense.
I'm not trying to get no moral victories.
You like,
how am I trying to get a moral victory?
Because they played much better with Tyrod Taylor. And I asked you, how many victories did they get with Tyrod?
It's not about victory. So it has to be a win or a loss for you to see. Bro. It has to be a win or a loss for you to see progress or see improvement.
What did you see? The Giants' offense is the worst in the NFL.
Absolutely. But it looked better under Tyrod than it has all season under Daniel Jones.
Got
if you don't understand that, I can dig it because you're not a Giants fan and you don't do as deep a dive into the situation. So I can understand you not having a
anytime somebody disagrees with you, it doesn't have to be about somebody not taking a deep dive as you. It's not. That's totally off base.
That's not off base because the point that I'm trying to make, you're trying to say if there's been no victory, there's been no improvement. And I'm trying to tell you there has been an improvement. You ask any Giants fan that has seen both of them play.
This last game too, bro.
So what you're telling me? So
and then hold on. Then when Tommy DeVito came in, what did they do? What did they do when DeVito came in?
Are you telling me that Tyrod Taylor didn't look any better quarterback in the Giants than Daniel Jones did this season. Is
not
that what
much.
You're telling me?
You said much better.
You said no. Now you're saying not much. Now you're
Not
saying
much.
not much.
That's
now
what
you're saying
you said,
not much.
bro.
Before
That's
it
what you
was,
said, bro.
it was
The
either a win
Giants'
or there was no
offensive line
improvement.
is trash.
Now it's not much. So you admit he did look a little better.
A little,
so
but
you
not
admit
much.
he did look a little
better. You
better.
said much better. I said no, not much better. They did not look much better with Tyrod Taylor.
He did. They did look much better. They did look much better.
For that much better?
They didn't win. They didn't win because we're a bad team, but they looked a lot better.
All right. So
and the point that I'm making to you is when guys know that they don't have nothing to play for, they don't try as hard. They go through the motions. You don't have to tell players.
I think you're just copping a lot of pleas for the Giants.
How am I copping pleas? I'm talking
because you was like because you're trying to indirectly, you're trying to put it all on Daniel Jones.
I'm not indirectly trying to do nothing. I'm explaining to you the difference between players tanking and the front office tanking.
I said
and you're going into this tangent saying that I'm defending Daniel Jones.
No, you were saying they played
and
much
it's not
better
that because you keep cutting me off.
Taylor.
Let me explain.
You said Tyrod
players
Taylor.
Don't tank. Players just play hard or they don't play hard.
You said
the front office are the ones that tank.
Bro,
they either get players that can make the team better or they stand pat and let garbage continue to be garbage because they want a good draft pick like the Giants are doing now.
They didn't look any much better yesterday. When Tommy DeVito was in there, the Giants' offensive line was still trash. DeVito was running for his life, bro. I don't see where you say they're much better when Daniel Jones isn't in there. I don't see it. I don't see it. And that's why I asked you, what's the evidence of that? You don't have any victories. What you have? One more victory? You guys are 2-7 now. So I'm like, where's these? Even if they were like 4-3 or 4-4, I could possibly agree with that statement. But a 2-7 record, bro, I can't agree with that. Bro.
I didn't say the Giants were better. I said that the offensive line and the defense and the receivers, everybody was like Waller was a bust. Tyrod comes in there and starts connecting with him. They was like, oh, Waller can play. What I'm telling you is it's infectious.
It wasn't much of that.
If dudes on the team feel like they have something to play
all right, bro.
for,
so you're
if they
convinced.
see a sense of promise,
then
they're going to play a little harder. You don't have to tell players.
I know
to
the theory, but what I'm saying
you don't have to tell players
I don't
to
see
tank.
evidence.
Just show them that you ain't doing shit to make the team better, and they'll stop playing better.
Tyrod Taylor showed on a couple series that he could make some plays, but overall I didn't see a tremendous improvement.
I never said a tremendous improvement
or much better improvement.
I said, well, they did play much better.
They were playing much better.
They did play much better. They did play much better.
I have to respectfully disagree with you on that. So rounding out the games, but I know you can argue about the Giants all day. Bengals took out the Bills 24-18, and the Chargers took out the Jets, who have the second worst offense in the NFL, 27-6. Any thoughts on the Chargers Jets game?
Jets are trash. Chargers are not as trash. There you go.
Well, they're what, 4-3, 4-4 now. So, and they have a good quarterback at least. Zach Wilson, man. I don't know. He's not capable of running an NFL offense. I don't see the evidence of that, man. At all. At all. Jets, I don't know what you're going to do. That offense is porous. I was rooting for the Jets to make the playoffs. But unless they have a continuity in the offense, they cannot even depend on them making one or two plays just to secure the game. Like there were opportunities in that game where they could have scored a couple touchdowns because the defense again came to ball. The Jets defense came to ball once again, and they had like 4 fumbles in that game. Zach Wilson lost 3 fumbles in that game. You're making your defense work extra hard, and you give any good NFL team, matter of fact, an average NFL team, so many opportunities after opportunities. Eventually, they're going to capitalize, and eventually the Jets defense is going to wear down, man. Do you have any thoughts on the Jets as far as Zach Wilson? They sticking with him for the season?
I don't even understand why they stuck with him this long, to be perfectly honest with you. But what that's telling me is, I really think they disappointed they won the couple of games they have with him, because that puts them in limbo, man. You win just enough so that your draft pick ain't great, you know, but you don't win enough to make the playoffs. Or even if you do get to the playoffs, you know, the quarterback that you have, you don't have any faith in him. And the quarterback that you do have faith in, he's not going to be in playoff shape. So I think I think the Jets were doing the same thing. You know, they were DL tanking.
Well,
it was like, well, let them go, man. We don't have no better options. They could have got better options. There were a lot of trades that were speculated. Kirk Cousins. I think people were talking about even, you know, trying to sign Carson Wentz on some, you know, low dollar deal or whatever the case may be.
Carson Wentz just got signed by the LA Rams today.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, the New York Jets standing pat and going with Zach Wilson at QB told me that they were pretty much giving up on the season. And I think the defense is really helping them out. I mean, the offense is, you know, they're scoring more than their opponents. So you got to give the offense a certain amount of credit as well. But I definitely think in my heart of hearts that if, you know, the Jets had their way, you know, they wouldn't be doing as well as they're doing either.
Okay.
Like I said, you take upstairs, not downstairs. And them not making a move.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That's kind of a flawed theory, though, because you can't control the players, though. You could have the management upstairs want to tank. First of all, I don't agree that the Jets tanked. They made a decision to go with Zach Wilson. What I do think that happened was they expected him to play better, which he has not. The defense has played better and has kept them in certain games and has allowed them to have a 4-4 record now. That is what I believe. I don't think that they're going to tank. They would not have gotten the wins that they've gotten so far this year if they were just going to tank. You know,
I think the other thing about it too is they don't really got no resources to go out and get anybody. I mean, I heard they had to give up a lot just to get Aaron Rodgers, and to give up all you did to get Aaron Rodgers, and then for him to get hurt. You know, do you want to invest a significant amount of money in another QB? You know, just to try and make the playoffs or whatever.
They could have gotten Jameis Winston. There were a few quarterbacks that they could have gone after. Like I said, they made the decision to stick by Zach Wilson, give Zach Wilson the opportunity.
Because there wasn't really a better option out there. That's why.
Nah, there were better options. They just decided to go in
an option
direction.
That you say this dude is going to get us to the playoffs. That much better an option.
A better option, meaning that day in and day out, weekend to weekend, every Sunday, he gives you a better opportunity to win. As far as hold on. You asked me a question and you want to answer it. Go ahead, answer it for me.
Go ahead. Answer it for me. No, because now because my better when we was talking about the New York Giants, that didn't mean nothing.
It's totally trash.
That ain't mean nothing.
So you're comparing the 2-17 team.
You either winning games or you're not, and if you're not winning games,
you said that
better. Now I'm asking you, what quarterback out there do you think the Jets could have went and got to get them to the playoffs? And you was like, they wouldn't have to get to the playoffs just to be better. And I'm like, what's the logic in that?
Playing week to week. And getting
so now you're into moral victories.
Improved. No one's talking about moral victories. All right, when you let me talk, I'm gonna say something that's gonna make some sense. Okay, because first of all, you keep saying tanking takes place up in management, in the ownership, not on the field, right? So now, if I could continue, you cannot make the players tank. The ownership could tank, and they could send a message down to the field. First of all, the coaches have to buy in. The players in the locker room are not buying into tanking because, for one, they're playing sometimes with incentives in their contracts if they accomplish certain things on the field and if they get a certain amount of wins, and certain things are incentive laden. So you're not going to get a competitive player just to buy into this theory of yours where, they're tanking on in the front office and then they doing it on the field. That's not what took place with the Jets. They made a conscious decision when there were opportunities to get other players. They could have gotten Carson Wentz when he was available. They just didn't. They decided to go with Zach Wilson.
What he wanted.
I just don't think Zach Wilson is good enough. They thought he was going to be better, and he's not. The other part is
not, because if they thought he was going to be better, they wouldn't have went and got Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that was from last year. As far as like this year, they kept him as the backup.
Matter of fact,
his protege.
Didn't Mike White? Oh no, not Mike White. Was it?
It
was Mike White. Did Mike White start over him?
They got rid of Mike White last year. For going into this year, they got rid of Mike White.
So all I'm saying is the front office don't send no messages down to the coaching staff and all.
So
that.
You're saying that the
first
Jets
of all,
consciously
hear me out. First of all, your team has to be in a position. Like, you can't have a team that's almost right there and we like maybe one player away, and then the front office is like, nah, we're not going to get that player. We're going to try and be garbage. If the team is right there, you're only going to be so garbage. So it don't even make no sense to not make moves that are going to get you closer. But if your team is a suspect or average team, and then you take a blow to like your starting QB or starting running back,
quarterback was available that was on par with Aaron Rodgers?
I don't know, but that's why they was talking about Kirk Cousins. That's why they was talking about Kirk Cousins. He's not as good as Aaron Rodgers, but I think as far as all the QBs out there, man, his toughness and as streaky as he is, they were talking about he probably would have been
let him go.
Because they was talking.
That was a hypothetical. That was a hypothetical, but the Vikings love Kirk Cousins. They weren't gonna let him go.
Yeah, well, they was talking about cleaning house when they saw that the team was underperforming. They would, that was an option. The talk was out there about
they have an opportunity to win their division. They're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Man, they haven't lost a beat.
Exactly, which is amazing that he comes in not knowing the playbook, barely knowing the players, and he puts up 3 touchdowns just playing off of instinct and athleticism. He scored a couple touchdowns himself, and he was definitely balling this week. And I don't know, the Chargers, they look better than they really are by playing the Jets. 27-6 was that final score.
Yeah,
and I still don't know
if like the Jets. So
yeah, if the Jets fall again, if they lose the next week or 2 out of the next 3, they're definitely going to be out of playoff contention. But a lot of the teams, if you look at the records, are 4-4, 5-4, 4-5. So there's a stack after the first top 3 teams in each conference. There's a stack right in the middle of teams that could vie. The Jets are not out of it, but Zach Wilson has to resurrect himself and kind of play at least average ball. At least average. That's what I'm saying right now. And the way that the advancements are taking place in Aaron Rodgers and his rehabilitation progress, if the Jets are in playoff contention, it's possible for him to come back. I'm not making any predictions on what type of game shape or what type of ability he's going to have, because right now the reports are he's throwing 50-yard passes. So the only thing that's left is for him to fully heal, get into practice. If the Jets are in contention, if they're not, I wouldn't even risk it at all. Any other thoughts on the NFL helmet-to-helmet segment before we move on?
Nope.
All right. Moving along, reaching the summit with backpedaling like Travis Hunter, covering the route through the week slate of NCAA football games. Week 10, we had a few underdogs rise to the occasion. But first, the Michigan Wolverines drama continues. They're in violation of Michigan investigation continues. They violated bylaw 11.6.1.1 and 11.6.1.2. And they have your man Connor Stallion. He's at a game in disguise taking pictures. Your man is definitely doing the most. And he has an itinerary of about 35 games. They have the prices of all the tickets. So they have been gathering the evidence. The NCAA investigation is going to take longer than the Big Ten. The Big Ten says that they're going to hand out a punishment within the next 48 hours. What do you think that punishment will be?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I mean, didn't they just, well, no, he got suspended. It wasn't the team. I don't
That
know.
was for a
Maybe.
recruiting violation, though.
Yeah, you think they make him forfeit some wins or something like that, or probably?
I don't think
probably ban him from another.
They're gonna suspend him. They're gonna suspend him. That's my educated guess on this one. I would say to you, do you think that the players deserve to be penalized, or is it just going to be the coach?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I would just say it's going to be the coach, because right now, what are they? They're number 3. The rankings come out tonight, so we'll take a look at those rankings in a minute. But I don't think if he was black or white makes a difference in this instance. I think it's the brand, to your point, Ja Logic. I think it's the brand of being the Michigan Wolverines, which when you think of NCAA football, that's one of the elite college franchises, one of the storied franchises in college football. So to take them out of a bowl contention at this stage of the season, I don't think they'll do that to the players. If any punishment is levied on the team itself, I think it's going to be going into the following season. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think they're going to take a bowl game away from the players.
Harbaugh is steadily becoming known as a habitual line stepper. So, I think to your point where it's not a white or black thing, but it's now a matter of, like, you don't respect us. You think you can do whatever you want to do. And, I think, I don't know how much harsher they can do other than, because they've already suspended him for however many games this season. Do they suspend him for a whole season? And if they do, what does that do to the team? If he doesn't have any contact. But I think it's going to be a gradual thing where the punishment might not fit the crime, but it might fit his history.
Well, he missed 3 games a season and they didn't miss a beat.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Is he allowed to still be in contact with someone and communicate?
During the games? During the ban from the team, you're not supposed to.
He has no contact. Okay.
You're not supposed to do any team activities. Yeah. Which, come on now. We know he done had some input while he was away from the team. But like I said, it's going to get to a point where I don't know if they want to punish the team to make an example of Harbaugh specifically. But it's definitely an instance where I think it's more than just a couple of games. I think it's going to be something a little more significant than that, because you got to send a message. At the end of the day, you got to send a message, man.
The other Big Ten teams are politicking and advocating for punishment to be levied right away. And that's not happening because
because they got to finish the investigation and everything.
If it was their team, they would not appreciate not receiving due process of the investigation, for one,
right?
And then having their players
and all that other stuff,
having their players punished during the course of a season where they're like 8-0 right now. So, and they're ranked number 3 in the nation if the rankings have not changed in the top 3. Coach Prime had something to say about that, which is to the point. Even though you have the signs and the signals, football is a game where you have to play hand to hand. You have to go man to man.
But what are your thoughts?
I mean, everyone's trying to get an edge. I mean, everyone's trying to get whatever edge they can. You could have someone's whole game plan. They could mail it to you. You still got to stop it. So in football, it's not as pronounced as baseball. If I know a curveball is coming, I got you. With football, I don't give a darn if you know a sweep is coming. You still got to stop it. Physically, it's a physical game. You got to stop it. So that's a little tough. I don't buy into a lot of that stuff that someone's stealing this, stealing that. I don't buy into a lot of that stuff. You still got to play the game.
Yeah, you still got to play the game. And that's what the other thing that was mentioned was all the teams do it. It's just that when we, as to the point when we were speaking about the Houston Astros, and it was mentioned, you mentioned the Yankees do it, other teams do it, but the level that the Astros did it was so egregious. Like, the other teams are complaining about what they are doing, in this case, the Wolverines, when all the other teams do it as well. They were doing it so much better or so egregious to the point where the other teams couldn't do it as well as they are. So I think that's what it's become a case of. It's like they took it to another level. They had a whole system in place. There were tickets purchased. There were certain games that they sent personnel out to, and they had technology. Whatever system they had must have taken the sign stealing level. What they called it was advanced scouting. They took advanced scouting to such another level that the other teams couldn't compete with them, and they're kind of happy that they got caught, in my estimation. What are your thoughts on that? To Deion Sanders, Coach Prime's point.
He has a point to a certain degree, but football is not like basketball or baseball, where you have multiple games. In basketball or in baseball, you see an opponent a number of times in a series of days, and you know what you're going to get. So to his point, at that point, it's either you can stop it or you can't. You either on your game that day or you're not. Now, to his point, what another team is going to do, and yeah, do you have the talent to stop it or not? But sometimes you can run certain schemes, and like I said, you just don't know what the other team is and isn't prepared for. Everybody tries to sneak in little wrinkles and all of that stuff. So with football is just a different animal, man. When you have their game plan, it does give you an advantage regardless of what you do and you don't have to do.
I could see Prime's point. Like when Randy Moss threw the hand up, you knew he was running the flyer pattern.
You had to stop it, or you
stop
don't.
it. You knew what was coming. You just couldn't stop it. I think what he's alluding to is you could have somebody's playbook, but you still have to execute the X's and O's as you have mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent.
Not the rule,
I think
though.
Sport, to Ja's point, in business industries have to change with technology. Absolutely. And I think the sport has to look at certain rules and change the interpretation, based on the spirit, maybe not so much the action. Because at the end of the day, it just doesn't make any sense to me to say you can go and you can check out other teams and you can game plan, but there's only certain things that you can do.
Well, you can't go check out other teams.
But
they do it anyway. You can't go check out other teams. Like you can't send anybody that is affiliated with your school or your staff to go check out other teams. So that's the first violation. Now the second one is that now they were at the games and they were compiling certain information. Yeah. They just happen to be using technology because they're staying up with the times. But the rule in itself, in the essence of the rule, you're not supposed to even go to the other team's games. But Coach Prime has a valid point. I think this situation is being blown out of proportion. And I think that the other teams in the Big Ten Conference are pushing for a bigger punishment than necessary. I'll let you get the final thoughts so we can move on.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, you can watch the game on TV and pretty much see the same stuff that you can see. So I guess maybe they're saying if there's any way that you could, damage their equipment or steal something, or I like I said, the logic is still kind of lost to me, especially since
if you're actually
game film on the team and learn the same things.
Okay,
right.
When you're watching it on the TV, right? You're going to see the entirety of the game. But when you're actually at the field, you can actually just videotape those people who are giving the signs. There are probably going to be 3 or 4 people involved with the signs coming in and out, and so forth. But to a point that could be made is that in order to alleviate that, you just have to go into the huddle instead of just getting signs sent in and out. Go into the huddle, and that alleviates having to look on the sidelines, get the play called in. Just stay on the headphones on the receiver. But in the collegiate level, you can't really they don't use the equipment, which is one part that I think they have to change, is using the equipment where you can speak to the quarterback in the headset.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure.
So I saw something on SNL that was kind of funny, man. That did you see the impersonation that Kenan Thompson did a Deion Sanders?
I did, man.
That was hilarious to me, man.
I did, man. It was funny. It was funny.
Do we have that job? Deion took it in stride, though, man. Deion took it in stride. So we're gonna get into the scores, the rundown of the scores for the first. Underdog was Oklahoma took another L this week. They were ranked number 9. They're gonna fall in the stand. I think they're gonna fall out of playoff contention if they haven't already. Arizona also upset UCLA. So yeah, Oklahoma, number 9, Oklahoma gets upset by 22, Oklahoma State 27-24. Arizona gets another upset for the week, topping number 19 UCLA 27-10, and Army tops Air Force 23-3. Air Force was previously ranked number 19. Army was unranked. Any thoughts on those games when we get into the top 25?
OSU, that's crazy.
Definitely. Oklahoma State. Ohio State 35 to Rutgers 16. They doubled them up. Ole Miss, Mississippi falls to Georgia 30-21. Michigan pounds Purdue 41-13. Florida State 24, Pittsburgh 7. Washington wins a high-scoring affair over USC 52-42. Caleb Williams takes another hit. Michael Penix Jr. keeps up his contention for the Heisman Trophy Award. That Washington defense, though, scares me. They give up a lot of points, though. Oregon, Molly Wops, California, 63-19. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was going to say, the Washington defense, that Ohio State defense also. I think I heard something about Ohio State hasn't allowed – and was it Ohio State hasn't allowed more than 17 points?
The Ohio State defense is stout. It's Washington that is suspect to me as far as their defense. Oregon, mollywops California 63-19. Oregon has been putting some bruisings on these teams they've been playing. Texas Longhorns over Kansas State 33-30. Alabama over LSU 42-28. And you got Ole Miss 38 over Texas A&M, who put up 35 points. Penn State comes back with the vengeance over Maryland 51-15. Virginia Tech falls to Louisville in a romping 34-3. Clemson 31 over Notre Dame, who's falling and slipping slowly but surely. They might not be in a bowl game this year. They fall to the Tigers 31-23. Oregon State over Colorado 26-19. To the Buffalo's credit, at least they didn't give up about 50 points this week. They only lost 26-19, bro. So
it's an improvement. There we go with the moral victories.
Was that a moral victory? Like, we're not doing moral victories, man.
No, we definitely not. Definitely not.
They definitely improved. I just had to notice that they didn't give up about 50 points this week, man. Tennessee mollywops University of Colorado 59-3. That was another mollywhopping. Then you got the Utes over Arizona State 55-3 and another romping. Arizona over UCLA was mentioned 27-10. Kansas over Iowa State 28-21. And you got Tulane 13, East Carolina 10. And that rounds up the top 25 slate of games. I'm going to take a look and see, what the rankings are right now, because we don't seem to know if the standings have switched. Let me take a look and see what's. Do you have the standings, the new power rankings for the college?
I've been looking for the last 5 minutes, man.
I don't think they came out yet, man. So we're gonna move along. Round ball around the world. We're picking and rolling through the NBA's Week 2 rundown. I'm gonna pass that over to you. I know you have a lot of insight on the NBA in the past week of games. Even though I did have to call you this week and call out your man Randall for not supporting Brunson. Brunson put up 45 points in the game, and Randall has been previously averaging like 13 points before last night. He put up his 20 and 7 and 10 that you famously attribute to him. But I'll hand that over to you. I'll give just for our discussion we had, I'll give Randall a reprieve unless he does something really egregious until New Year's. Until New Year's. I want to see how his play is until New Year's, man. So it's a bigger sample size, man. But go ahead, bro. You got it.
You want to see how Randall does around the holidays, right around the trade deadline? I mean,
December, January, bro.
He finally came through in this last game that we had on what was it, Sunday? No, sorry, not Sunday. On Monday, when we put it on LA on the Clippers, man.
Okay.
Hopefully, that's a start for things to go in the right direction for Randall and for the Knicks, man. RJ's kind of been on a tear. I kind of want to call this his redemption tour, but he's playing hurt right now. So I'm hoping
Who's
trying
hurt?
RJ.
Randall? Oh,
RJ. He missed like
come in last night.
Yeah, he missed like 2 games.
Before.
He missed like 2 games, and he came in last night and he said he was still dealing with
last night.
Still painful, but he's rolling through it. Right now we got the top teams. I tell you what's the biggest surprise is I guess Milwaukee not dominating how some people suspected they would be with the addition of Damian Lillard, man. But the defense is definitely taking a blow.
4-2?
4-2, which is still pretty good, all things considered, man. But I think the surprising team right now in the East is the Sixers, man. Embiid is back on his MVP tour. Tyrese Maxey has really just turned it up. But Boston, can you say Boston is a surprise? Yeah, let's say Boston is a surprise, man. Starting off 5-0.
That's a surprise.
Starting off 5-0. That's
I say the Sixers is. I thought the Sixers were gonna go through a transition period without Harden, and they're 5-1. And Embiid just put up what? He just put up 38.
Yeah, I think
38 and 17.
I think that's one of the things that contributed to them pulling the trigger on that deal is they saw how well they started the season out. Currently on a 5-game winning streak. We got the top 3 teams in the East right now being the Celtics, Sixers, and Bucks. Moving to the West, the Denver Nuggets finally lost the game, but they're currently on a 3-game winning streak. So Denver's 7-1, rounding out the top 3 in the Western Conference. We have the Dallas Mavericks at 6-1. The Dallas Mavericks have been playing some pretty damn good basketball right now. Luka has reignited his MVP candidacy and is balling out of control right now. And surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, the Golden State Warriors being the 3rd best team in the West right now.
Steph has been balling.
Steph has been balling, but Chris Paul has proved to be I don't even what you want to. He's been that and more. I think something like 54 assists to 6 turnovers so far in the 8 games that they played.
Is that surprising to you?
You know, not how good he's playing is not surprising to me. I guess how well the Warriors are doing right now. And I won't even say surprising as much as, well, yeah, I guess a little surprising, man. You would think they would have taken a step back, but to Draymond Green's point, the team is just clicking. He's saying there's a better atmosphere in the locker room. Practices have been better.
Right.
The team is bonding better. And I think also they're getting better contributions from some of the younger players so far this season too. So it's definitely a step in the right direction. You know, it's still early in the season. You know, you still got a lot of injuries. You still got players who, you know, whose roles might develop and, you know, might break out or whatever. But oh yeah, also we've had the in-season tournament so far. I think we've had 11 games, no, 6 games, 7 games, something to that effect. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well,
6,
at least I understand how it works now, which is they have 3 brackets in both conferences, in the East and the West, right? And they play a total of 4 games. They play a total of 4 games, and then after the 4 games, they take the team with the best 4 records from each conference. They go to a semifinal, and then finally, then they play for the NBA
single elimination after that.
Cup. Yeah. So that's
and tonight would have been more NBA Cup games, but they put the season on hold tonight for Election Day. Hope everybody got out and voted. Remember, your local elections are way more important than, you know, the big presidential elections that unfortunately those are the only ones that people turn out to. So get out and vote, man, especially your local ones. Very important.
All right. Anything else on round ball around the world?
No, man, it's a young season, man. Anxious to see, you know, how this in-season tournament affects how everything else is going. But so far, man, it's been a real good season.
I got to give a top shelf shout out to Nikola Djokovic for passing LeBron James
on the all-time assist list.
Not the all-time triple-double list. Was
triple doubles,
108th triple-double all time, and that's just amazing from his position.
And done it in less games too.
Yeah, a lot less games. So the NBA season is definitely young. Who do you have as your Power 5 right now?
My Power 5 in the NBA. All right, so number 1, we definitely have. Hold on, I just had it. Okay, number 1, we have the defending champs. Looking like world beaters out there. Looking like, you know, Joker can just get out there and have his way with anybody. Coming in at number 2, I'll put Boston, the Celtics, in there. Like I said, not surprising how well they're doing, just surprising that they started the season 5-0. You know, that's putting a stamp on the season. That's putting the league on notice.
I'm more surprised the manner in which they're winning. They're putting up like 135, 140. They put up 155 points the other night.
You know, quiet as kept, man. Boston is probably
in which they're doing it.
Boston might be the best defensive team in the league, man. You know, from one, who is the weak link on that team defensively?
Right now,
if anybody, I'd say probably Tatum. If anybody, I'd say Tatum. You know, is probably the least active defender, and I wouldn't even call him a bad defender. Just along the lines of like Kobe Bryant, like, okay, you need me to lock down, I'm gonna lock down. But other than that, let me focus on this side of the ball. But you know, the other 5, Holiday, Brown, isn't White starting? No, White is not starting. White is coming off the bench. KP and who's starting at the 4? I can't remember, but yeah, Boston is definitely a tough defensive team. So, you know, they definitely coming in at number 2 for me. It's a toss-up. I'll say 3 and 4 interchangeably right now. Let's say 3 and 4, Philly and Dallas, and we'll let you pick which order you put them in. Both teams are balling out right now. I think Dallas is probably the bigger surprise. Not so much a surprise as in how well they're doing, but how well or how good a team they are, but how well they're doing out the gate. So matter of fact, yeah, let's put Philly, who's on a 5-game win streak right now. We'll put them in the 3rd spot, and we'll put Dallas in number 4, and then rounding out the top 5. We got to go with Milwaukee. Let's put Milwaukee up there. Golden State is balling right now, but I think it's just a matter of time before Dame gets it together, and Milwaukee turns it up a notch. I mean, like they're saying, like right now, it's like Dame is probably like the 3rd option on the team or whatever, and he hasn't even clicked yet. So I think once Dame finds his smooth spot, man, finds his groove, Milwaukee's going to kick in. So as a matter of fact, until they do that, let's give Golden State the props that they deserve.
Yeah, I was gonna say Golden State is gelling better than the Bucks right now.
Yeah, so we'll put Golden State there. So that's the top 5. We have Denver at 1, Boston at 2, Philly at 3. Who did I say it for? Dallas at 4, and rounding out the top 5, we have the Golden State Warriors.
All right. Copy that. We're going to keep our eye. We got a long season to go. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out on Julius Randle and see what progress he makes, man. Give your man Brunson some help. And RJ Barrett, man, we need you to stay healthy because we definitely missed that wing play that he provides, which showed in that victory that they had over the Clippers last night. Oh, before we go on to reaching the summit part 2, with the Clippers, how do you think that experiment is going to work? You're going to have 4 stars with the Clippers.
Pecking order is just going to have to be established. But once it is, I think the biggest, I think the biggest benefit that James Harden will have is the fact that he's a regular season monster when he's focused. And the biggest problems have been, when the Clippers superstars get hurt. Not if, but when, because it's inevitable. Paul George is going to miss some time. Kawhi is going to miss some time. Not even knock on wood. Maybe they hold out. Maybe having Harden
be different.
Yeah, maybe having
why
Harden.
I say that? Because no one wants to see Kawhi hurt. No one wants to see PG hurt. I know, to your point, historically they have been over the last few seasons. Either one or the other has been out, Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. But come on, in order for this to get the most out of it, I think you're gonna have to have Harden on the floor. You're gonna have Westbrook on the floor healthy, PG on the floor healthy, Kawhi Leonard on the floor healthy. Because if any one of them gets hurt, then we oh, there we go, the injuries, and then the continuity is off, the chemistry is off. If more than one of them gets hurt, it's like what's the point of bringing them together?
Like I said, I think with James Harden, you mitigate some of that risk in losing either Harden or Kawhi. So there's a definite
PG or Kawhi.
PG or Kawhi. Harden definitely mitigates that risk of losing one of those 2 big guns. So to my point that I was making, you have a guy like that can get you through the regular season. And, you heard him. He's not a system player. He's a system. It's crazy. Listen, as crazy as it sounded, it was kind of, it was like, yo, let me go. Point me in the right direction. Let me go. Give me that rock. Let me cook. I think the biggest player. He's a system. I think let me tell you, I think one of the biggest factors in the Clippers' success will be Westbrook's self-control.
Right. That's definitely key. He has to keep his head level.
He has to keep his head level, man. He has to play in the system. He can't think to himself that he has to justify his existence on that roster. He has to remind people that he's just as good as Harden or Kawhi or PG. Exactly. Like that 3-pointer, that he shot instead of making a pass to Batum, who was wide open, in that one game. I I think having Harden there will, crazy as it sounds. Well, as crazy as it sounds, James Harden is about to have a calming effect on somebody. You know what I'm saying? He'll be a positive effect on somebody. So I think, having Harden there will be a benefit, man. It just remains to be seen. Will the Clippers be completely healthy? Number one, will they be completely healthy come postseason? Number one, and then number two, will everybody have accepted their roles
and buy in,
and play with that self-control and not revert to
within
hero
the
ball
system.
or I used to be an MVP or MVP candidate. Let me, exactly. Right. Stick with the system. Stick with what got you where you are.
I think he's going to do as usual, as you said, during the regular season. Once he gets 100% in game shape form, and then in the playoffs, hopefully Kawhi and PG stays healthy, and then they can make a good run. Because I'd like to see that team do some damage. Because why put 4 stars together like that? For them to have like an average and mediocre season. I don't think that's good sports. To your point that you made last week, it's not really fun watching blowout games. When you see a blowout game, you start channel surfing, you lose interest. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, it's not as competitive. It's a 28-34 game. And to my point that I made with the Cowboys in Philly, although they fell short, the defense showed up and did their job. And they held – I told you last week, I said, if they can hold Philadelphia to 28 points, they stand a chance of winning. If they allowed Philadelphia to score beyond 28, like 35, made it into like a big shootout, it wasn't going to be in their favor. They had the game in their hands, man. But it's all about showing up. And I guess, as they say, showing out, man. Anything else on NBA around the world?
I think the other thing with the Clippers is defensively, man. They're gonna have to figure something out because you may though, right? It's early, but
but that was the same thoughts with the Golden State Warriors, and they seem to be doing just fine. And
I think they've had a longer time to work on it. So once Harden gets acclimated to the team, we'll see what happens. But I don't think Harden's going to help the defense. And to me, the Clippers don't look.
Well, Kawhi plays defense when he's healthy. PG, to their credit, PG, Kawhi, and Westbrook play defense. Harden is the one that you have to look out for slacking on certain plays, man. Right. But they got time to get that together. So we'll see how their defensive chemistry, plays out during the course of the season. Moving along, reaching the Summit Part 2, NCAA basketball men's and women's collegiate seasons tip off. And I got some shout outs. I got calls, matter of fact. Shout out Cato Cash. And he hit me up and said that he considers collegiate basketball more of a major contribution to sports than hockey. And he says even more than NCAA football. He rocks with college basketball more than hockey or NCAA football. So he said, even though I know he was flawed, he said this is his true equinox now, when he loves the time of the year when you got college basketball, you got NBA basketball, you got the NHL, you got the NFL. But then I said, you're missing baseball. He said, well, they gotta get Derek Jeter to bring back the Mr. November series. I said, I don't think it works like that, Cato Cash, but I get your drift, man. What do you think, though, about college basketball? Let me just give you the rankings. Right now, you got KU ranked number 1, Duke number 2, Purdue's number 3, Michigan State fell, and they're ranked number 4 now. They took a hit. Marquette, Connecticut, Houston, Creighton, Tennessee, and the FAU round out the top 10 for college basketball. Any thoughts on the upcoming season for college basketball?
you know, it's early. I'm anxious to see how the season plays out, but I'm anxious to
Who's your
see
college team?
my college team.
Yeah.
I was a Red Men fan back in the days.
What,
Um,
Carnesecca era?
yeah, Carnesecca era, man. You know, even a
Like,
little later on, you know, the Zendon Hamilton days and stuff like that. You know, I followed St. John's.
didn't the
Was definitely
former Knicks coach, wasn't the former Knicks coach,
who's that?
Mike, who played for Indiana? Oh yeah, Indiana. Gotta
Mike.
send the definitely. He played for Indiana. He used to be the coach for the Atlanta Hawks, and he was the coach for the New York Knicks at 1 point too.
Right, but he didn't coach for St. John's. You said he coached for St. John's. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, I believe he coached for St. John's at 1 point. All right,
Woodson?
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, Woodson. Yeah.
Okay.
But now they got Rick Pitino back, so
yeah,
is that gonna revitalize your fandom of the St. John's?
I'll definitely.
They don't
check
call
them
them
out.
the Red Men anymore. They call them
the Red Storm. The Red Storm. But I was saying that's how far back I go with college basketball. The Red Men and the Orange Men. You know, Syracuse was a fan of theirs too. You know, pro New York all the way, baby. New York teams all the way.
On the upset alert, on the women's side, you have LSU taking the L yesterday. I believe it was like 92-78 to the upstart number 20 ranked Colorado Buffaloes women's basketball team, and they put a hurting on them. And that's the first time a returning champion has been defeated on the first game of the season.
That's crazy.
Since like UConn lost in 1995, bro. So that was definitely an upset. They're definitely one of the underdogs of the week. The Lady Buffaloes. That's what they call them, right? They take like the Colorado Buffaloes. So they the Lady Buffaloes.
Yeah.
That's how that works there.
That's how they do it.
All right, man. So we're going to move along as the NCAA college men and women season develops. We'll get more into it. We'll just get into the guts and ice of the NHL standings. We got Boston with the 10-1 start heading up the Eastern Conference. You got the Rangers at 8-2 in the Metropolitan. You got the Dallas Stars at 7-3 leading the Western Conference. And rounding out the Pacific Conference, you have the Vegas Golden Knights at 11-1. You know, you had the Golden Knights win a chip. You had the Las Vegas Aces win a chip. And now Mark Davis just has to try to get the Las Vegas Raiders right. And then he'll have a power squad over there in Vegas.
I hope he keeps Pierce.
Who?
Antonio Pierce.
Oh, Antonio Pierce.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think if he does well, let's say he wins the majority of the rest of the games, right? Because we're at the halfway point, 8-8, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they like? 3-4, 4-3. Let's say he finishes like what? Let's say he finishes 9-7.
Right.
Do they keep him or is he gone?
No, you got to give him a chance, man. You got to give him a chance. I mean, to the point I tried to make earlier about how teams play, if you see an improvement on the field, man, if you see a team playing better, you know, whether they win or not, you know, having the right coach in there to inspire the team, then you can kind of put some players around them once you establish a culture. But you can't expect great things until you establish a culture, man. And I think Antonio Pierce, man, with his passion and, you know, you heard what he did, that, you know, a reporter asked him why they had practice players on the sidelines. And he was like, yo, they have jerseys too. They're part of this team too. He said they're part of getting us prepared for games every week too. So they got every right to be on the sidelines, man. And he was like, and, you know, when you treat everybody like when they are family. He said you treat them like family, man. And he was like, that's when good things happen, man. And so, like, with that kind of logic and that kind of attitude, you can't help but root for him. And that's definitely a step in the right direction to establishing a winning culture in Las Vegas. You know, if they're going to have a chance to be up there with the Golden Knights and the Aces.
Right. Absolutely. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. I hope Antonio Pierce gets an opportunity to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Outside the 2011 Giants.
Yeah, definitely former champ, but you had to put the smacks on him. So we're going to get into the monsters of the week, including some usual suspects and some new additions. Child Logic, man, bring them monsters in, my G. Definitely monsters of the week. Josh Dobbs bringing the Minnesota Vikings from the jaws of defeat and coming off the streets, barely with the team for like 5 weeks, man. And he threw 3 touchdowns. I think he threw 2. He ran in 2. He just was balling out of control. CJ Stroud putting up 470 yards, passing 5 touchdowns. Corey Seager, MVP for the World Series, definitely another monster of the week. Nathan Eovaldi going 5-0 for the Texas Rangers playoff run. Victor Wembanyama, who was for a rookie, put up the most points for a rookie in like their debut rookie inaugural season, which was formerly held by Shaquille O'Neal, which was 35. Wemby had 38 this past week. Got to definitely give it up to the Celtics for their stellar start. The Nuggets got Keon Coleman, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb in a losing effort. Got to big up Jalen Hurts, who toughed it out in that game when he had his knee injured, and he still led the Eagles to the victory. Any other monsters of the week? Any other monsters of the week, Ty?
No, bro. I forgot to mention Wembanyama, man. Incredible. It's you want to hear something crazy, man. For the first 3 games of the season, he had the exact same amount of points, rebounds, and assists that Tim Duncan did in his first 3 games of the season as a Spur.
It's definitely balling. Definitely balling. Those were our monsters of the week. And definitely before we get into BK Ty's top 5, you're going to take a moment of silence, man. Bobby Knight passed away, I believe at the age of 86. 3-time national champion. He had a controversial career, had his ups and downs, but he definitely was a basketball genius. The mentor to Mike Krzyzewski, put up 9. When he retired, he had 902 wins. He's 6 all-time with that 902 mark. The great Bobby Knight. The choker Bobby Knight. He used to choke some of his players out, throw chairs. He was very controversial, man. Had 2 sides to him. But definitely condolences to the Knight family, to the Indiana Hughes family, and his legacy will live on.
Salute.
Yep. All right. Let's get into BK Ty's top 5.
All right. So tonight for BK Ty's top 5, we are doing the top 5 pro sports cities in the U.S. And to compile this list, we used a number of factors, including number of sports teams, how many championships. So here goes the top 5 sports teams, the top 5 sports cities in the U.S. Coming in at number 5, we have the city of Dallas that has 7 professional sports teams and 10 championships in their history, including the Rangers, as we discussed earlier, the Texas Rangers, who have won their first World Series this year with a gentleman's sweep, 5 games over the Arizona Diamondbacks. So salute to Dallas, salute to the Texas Rangers. Coming in at number 4, we have the city of Philly, the city of brotherly love, that has a total of 5 professional sports teams with 19 championships among them, which most recently was the Phillies. Sorry, not the Phillies. Well, yeah, the Phillies won in 2008, but the most recent championship in Philadelphia has been the Eagles in 2017. Philly is also a city rich in boxing history, with some of its notable donators to the sport. We have Joe Frazier, living legend. We have the executioner Bernard Hopkins, as well as Meldrick Taylor, former gold medalist and 2-time welterweight champ, all from the city of Philly. So Philly coming in at number 4. Number 3, we got Beantown. That's right, Boston, with a total of 5 professional sports franchises and 40 championships among these 5 teams. It's crazy because Boston, the city of Boston, that New England area, has 12 championships since the year 2000.
One year they did it in all 4 major sports.
In all 4?
Yeah.
What year was that?
With the Patriots, the Bruins.
I know they did it. The only year that they did it, well, the last year that they did it was the Red Sox. And well, the Red Sox won it 4 times. The last year they won it was 2018. And the Patriots also won it 6 times. And they won it in 2018. 12 championships total from the city of Boston since the year 2000, though. I don't know.
Yeah, Boston,
I don't remember
the Patriots, the Bruins, and there was another Boston. I don't think it was the men's basketball, but it was another Boston team that won. I think it was in the collegiate ranks. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, they definitely put up their chips though.
Got you. Coming in at number 2, we got my hometown, NYC stand up, the city of New York, with 13 professional sports teams. That is actually the most of any city in the country, with 65 championships. 27 of them, as we all know, have come from the New York Yankees. And also, New York City is home to what's commonly known as the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, also known as the Mecca. And it's actually home to very many memorable boxing events. Not to mention, that their Celebrity Row at Madison Square Garden is unparalleled to any except for maybe a Lakers game or something like that. You have the New York City FC, who won the MLS Cup in 21. And aside from that, the New York City has not seen a championship. Aside from the MLS Cup in 21, New York City has not seen a championship, unfortunately, since the New York Giants beat the New England Patriots in 2011. So coming in at 2, that's the city of New York. And coming in at number 1, we have Los Angeles. 12 pro teams, as well as notable colleges in the greater LA area. Specifically, we have USC and UCLA. They have 33 championships amongst their pro teams in the Los Angeles area, including the Dodgers, the Los Angeles FC soccer team, the Lakers in 2020, the bubble chip, and the Rams, who won it in 2021. They are actually, the LAFC is the most recent one, and then after them is the Rams, who won it in 21. And also, we mentioned about Boston winning 12 since 2000. One of the main factors that put LA on the top, even though they're a much larger area, LA has won 8. The city of LA has experienced 18 championships since the year 2000. So that makes LA the number 1 sports team in the United States. So recapping the top 5 sports cities in the U.S. We have Dallas at number 5, Philadelphia coming in at number 4, Boston coming in right in the middle there at number 3, New York City at number 2, and the number 1 sports city in the United States, Los Angeles. And that's top 5 tonight.
Okay. I ain't mad at your list. I would have New York number 1 because 65 chips compared to 33, although there have been some recent chips out of LA more so than the New York area. But 65 to 33.
18 in the last.
But 65 to 33 overall. And most of those 33 are probably by the Lakers, who have 17, 18.
Yep.
So, guys, though, I would have had New York number 1.
You know, the only reason I put LA number 1 aside from just the chips is, so I think another thing. Well, I didn't use just pro sports teams as a criteria. You know, I wanted to add their, you know, college fans as well, because that's sports too. And if you throw USC and UCLA in there, man, I didn't even, you know, mention the national championships or anything they have, man, but just per capita in the area, man, having those amount of sports teams, and also, like I said, have 18 of the championships won in the.
I can see that. I mean, I would have LA number 2, but you know, you have them at 1. I ain't mad at you. I just had to mention that I would have put New York number 1. I'm surprised Chi-Town didn't make the cut. Or
you know why they put
Miami.
New York number 1 too? Because, like I said, the most recent, well, other than the Yankees, the most recent, like, you know, our championships that Rangers. We won, man. We've had a drought. We've had a drought, man, since 2011. Nothing in the last 13 years, man. So, well, 12 years. So, I
mean, I see your point, but besides that, no Chicago. No Miami.
Chicago gets an honorable mention. Miami is up there as well. But as far as, like I said, the criteria, the number of teams, first and foremost, being the major criteria, and then the championships amongst those teams being the other one, that kind of put cities like Miami and Chicago out of the running.
All right, out of the top 5. All right, BK Ty's top 5. Appreciate you, brother, with your top 5 list. Any other thing you want to add to the sports world from Sports in the City, live from the arena?
No, I just want to give, like I said, man, all sports fans out there, shout out, man, everybody that's peeping the videos, whether you on live with us or you come back and check it out, we appreciate it. Just please don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, thanks for taking that ride with us. Episode 8, Sports Equinox Part 2, Reed Richards, BK Ty, Ja Logic, the iRant Network, the Ranters Union.
Salute.
718, New York City, 758.
757, stand up.
Word, I was a number off, my bad. 757, the VA area, stand up, man. Yo, Ja Logic, thanks for your presence, man. Your contributions to this jam. BK Ty, salute to you, brother.
Salute to you, Reed Richards, man.
All our listeners and subscribers, keep hitting that like button. Keep sharing it, man. And we're going to just keep getting better every time, man. We do this for you. Peace.
Deuces.
Now we go to Vinko Bogatas, the Yugoslavian, the youngster. He's inexperienced. He fell on his first jump.
A lot of speed in that track. Now, look at him go! Oh, baby.
Oh, man.